Good morning. Good morning. Our first morning episode. Welcome to Still Talking Uncut podcast. I'm your host, Big Easy, joined by my co-host, Master Distiller Sean Rigsby. And we're privileged enough to have our first female guest, Moonshiner Casey, winner from the mead episode. If you don't know what mead is, it's wine made with honey, and it's amazing. So, thanks for being here.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, absolutely.
It's our pleasure. And I don't really agree with seeing Sean this early, but I take it for what it is.
He's got a smile.
Usually, if you see me this early, I can't even talk right now. If you see me this early, we're doing something else.
Right.
Oh man, yeah, you're heading off to work, and I'm getting started.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm calling you at noon, like I broke something.
Right.
All right, it's early morning. What you drinking on, Sean? That's a weird looking Busch Light apple.
Yeah, well, I got I don't know. I just gotta get my coffee first. This is my coffee. This is from Mountain Dew. And I don't have any Mountain Dew, so.
So you're a morning coffee drinker?
No, this is my coffee.
Oh, okay. Casey, morning coffee drinker?
Oh yes, absolutely.
I'm not a coffee guy. So like, how do you wake up without coffee? Like I can't do it, man. I'm just not a coffee guy.
Yeah.
I decided for vodka this morning. Can't be hungover if you sober up. So no, it's water. Water early this morning. No alcohol.
I wasn't sure if that was High Rock or what.
No, that's all gone. I already drank all that. I got to go down and get another bottle. So
I don't blame you. I'm going to.
Nice. All right, well, just pick me up once. Save me a trip.
Well, I mean, when we go down there, in July or June or whatever.
I thought it was March. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, Good morning. Good morning. Man, I didn't think it'd be this rough of a start this morning, Sean. Should have prepped a little more, huh?
Yeah. So, Casey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, what do you want to know specifically?
Where you started, what got your start in it,
well,
where you're from, kind of thing.
I'm from Houston. I'm from Texas. We don't have a whole lot of moonshiners around here. Honestly, I know two, and I'm one, and my dad's the other one until, the whole master distiller thing. I started, I'm going on my 10 years now, right after I got back from Iraq. I was having some issues taking care of some stuff, and, I discovered running, and then it just became something that I could focus on again. And, it was, something that I just got into to, I guess, meditation, if you want to call it that. And it just kind of took off from there.
We can have relaxing properties. You're patient, you're waiting, you're just relaxed, and then the longer the run goes, the more buzzed up I usually am. So that keeps me nice and even killed too.
Surprisingly, I don't drink, and I don't even drink like during the run. I used to a lot, and then when I was in Iraq, I got sick over there, and I came home and had some really bad stomach issues. So when I put alcohol on it, it kind of sets it on fire. So I guess in turn for me not being able to, the fact that I could produce something that could make that somebody else could drink for me, that kind of helped me out a little bit. So
makes you feel nice when you hand somebody a jar, and they give you good honest feedback, and like realistically the face tells you everything. You see somebody's face when they taste something. It tells you everything that their words aren't going to tell you, because a lot of people will lie to you in person because, they don't want to hurt your feelings, and it's kind of different. But the face tells you everything you need to know. So when that face lights up, and when it's, oh, man, you just know, like, oh, yep, I need to do something different. So,
really cool. For sure. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I don't taste, because, like, I know what it tastes like. Yeah. So I know if it's going to be bad or not. But that, whenever they take that tug, if it's like that tear in the eye or that,
I always like I always like the look on people's faces when they're really expecting some rock gut shit. You know what I mean? And they try it and they're like, "Ooh, this is good." Like
yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I have some real picky people that taste for me, if that's whatever you want to call it. And I watch their face very carefully, and sometimes they'll like turn their nose up because it's moonshine or whatever. And I'll watch them for a little bit, and they pour that little bit at first and taste it, and then when their second time the pour comes around, it's a heavier pour. So then I'm like, yeah, I got you.
They know what they want.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
So, what's your favorite thing to make?
Liquor.
That's the best answer I've heard. Straight liquor, no matter what it is.
It don't matter. Good liquor, obviously, but in the end, it's pretty much. Okay, there's some things that I like and some things that I don't like. Like, honest to God, I don't like making a sugar wash or a sugar mash. I don't like it. It's messy. It stinks, and to me, like, if I'm gonna do something, I might as well just do corn. You know what I mean? So I don't like doing stuff like that. But in the end, what do we want at the end? We want alcohol at the end, right? So, whatever I want to put in, as long as I get alcohol, liquor in the end, that's fine with me.
That's all that matters. As long as it comes good out the end. As long as it comes good out the end.
Now,
go ahead.
Well, I don't like post distillation stuff so much, like adding all the flavors and sugars and stuff. But everything pre, I like anything.
Clear with flavor. That's the magic. What? Like you make a good jar of brandy and you hand somebody a jar of brandy and they taste it and they look at you and they say, "What'd you put in this?" And it's like, love. Love. I put love in that. I didn't mix anything afterwards. There's no sugar. There's no glycerin. There's no after flavoring. Everything that you're getting is all done with the love through the distillation, and that's the magic.
And some people don't understand that, and I think I get to laughing when I hear people overcomplicating this and wanting to put this and do this, and I just kind of sit back and laugh because I'm one of those people. I love to overcomplicate stuff, and I think this is one of the reasons why I love Run and Shine so much, is because it's complicated, but yet it's simple. You got to keep it simple, stupid, and I think like the more simple you can keep it, the better it comes out. Like, I'm not saying don't flavor, but don't add all this extra crazy stuff that nobody knows really what the hell you're talking about.
Keep it simple, keeps it delicious.
Yeah, it does.
So do you prefer grain over, say, brandy, or vice versa?
Well,
if you're drinking it, not making it, if you're drinking it.
If I'm drinking, if I'm gonna drink, I don't really like anything high proof. I like my stuff a little bit lower proof. But if I'm gonna drink it, I prefer a brandy.
Nice, brandy for the win.
Yeah,
yeah.
We're going to dedicate a whole show to why brandy's better than corn.
Well, and the only reason
that's why,
right? And the only reason why I even have the opportunity to make a brandy is because I have some pear trees. So if I didn't have the trees, I don't even know if I could make brandy, because fruit around here is so super expensive to get. Even if you know somebody, or even if you're going to like farmer's market to get like, excuse me, the junk fruit, it's still going to cost you an arm and a leg. So I make my brandy from my own pear trees.
Yeah. Now, I've made some pear brandy, all pears, and what a task straining them. What a task filtering those pears out. I was covered. And then I figured out an easier way to do it. It's just, when you deal with fruit, man, that's the biggest labor, and that is straining that fruit if you don't have, big conical fermenters or anything like that.
The worst part for me was picking it.
You gotta shake the tree with your truck and have the kids pick them up off the ground.
Well, no, actually, I get in the front end, the bucket of a front end loader, and then I trust my driver enough to put me 20, 30 feet in the air, and then I just start raking them in the bucket.
Yeah, and I could get dead if I done that.
I mean, I'm fighting bees and wasps. That's that's the worst part about it. I can rake in about 250 pounds in 5 minutes if I'm quick enough.
You all right over there?
Yeah. She talked about being in a bucket and water went down the wrong air pipe because I pictured myself up there pecking bears and falling on the ground. It's definitely not my deal. No more than about 3 inches off the ground I go, because falling's not the hard part. It's landing.
It's landing, yeah.
So I got a question. Do you have a story of when moonshine almost killed you?
Or a really good moonshine story,
Yeah, at all.
We love story time, and it's Saturday morning, so this might as well be reading Rainbow. And we want to hear stories on Saturday morning. I got a bowl of cereal around here somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, but it's not really more about me. It's more about the person that was with me.
Oh, that's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine with us. It's always better when it's somebody else too. Like, man, he got lucky. I almost got him.
Well, no, this was actually kind of a sweet story. Like, y'all may not want to hear it, but
we want to hear
it. Sweet. Okay.
It'd be a nice change up.
So it involves my grandmother. I had a run, and it was a pretty big run. It was about a 2-hour run away, and it was to my grandmother's side of town. It was her side of the family, and she knew where I was going. She knew what I was doing. She knew how much I had. She knew everything. So it's not like I'm hiding anything from her. And at the very last minute, she's like, "Can I go with you?" I said, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, I want to go with you."
Nice.
So yeah, and that's I guess that's the best part about it. It's like, we're committing basically a felony, and I have my 80-something-year-old grandmother sitting shotgun with me, crossing multiple county lines. Like, I can't, when you get down to the technicalities of it, like, I'm committing crimes, and my grandmother's riding shotgun. So
that's an amazing memory. I love that.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
it is.
What an amazing memory, So when if your kids are older and they get the bug and they want to learn how to distill and things like that, and then you could tell them that story about how Granny was riding shotgun while you was running liquor. Like, what an awesome story.
He knows. he knows, because he told me bye. He told her bye at the same time.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I've got there he is right there. Hey, Bubba. I've got the third generation, working on the third generation right now.
That's awesome.
Now, do they have a lot of interest in it? I mean,
oh, yeah, he does. He helps me out. He does, he's learning it, and he puts labor into it. He's my muscle sometimes. Awesome. He helps me haul sugar, load buckets, load bottles, stuff like that.
That's awesome. So are you a what type of yeast are you? Are you a wine yeast person? Do you like daddy? Do you like bread?
I like daddy. I started with bread yeast, probably just like everybody does, but I like daddy because it's not a turbo. Turbo's horrible, but to me, it's just a good overall yeast. And if you want to go in different routes and go different ways with yeast, that's fine. But I think daddy's a good overall way to start. Because it does a lot. It does a lot.
It does.
And then add a couple of nutrients and you're good to go with just about anything.
Yeah, that daddy, I guess it's more of a it tolerates more ABV than what say bread yeast would.
Yeah, it's a strong strain, just like EC 1118. It'll handle almost anything you throw at it, and it's a great distiller's yeast, especially for beginners. You see a lot of beginners using it.
And it's got a higher temperature too. Like, you got to raise that temperature to kill it. Unlike some of them, which I think is a really good buffer.
Yeah. I think that day that pitch is like 95 to 105 is what you pitch at, somewhere in there. But it's a really high pitch?
120.
120.
Yeah, you can go about 120, 130. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm a Brady's guy.
Let it get cold and dump it on there. It's 30 degrees. Dump it in there. It'll be all right.
Just add a few more days to it at work.
Yeah. I try to keep it under 110, but yeah, you can go as high as 120 and you'd be okay. But even if you don't, you just got some nutrients for the next round anyway.
Yeah. Well, hold on. What was the term? Zombie yeast.
I feel like I've heard that before.
Oh, tater, right? That's a tater thing. The old zombie yeast. I had to give old Tater a shout out this morning.
All right, what's that, Tater?
He's a piece of shit. But anyway,
we digress. It's weird seeing the sunlight in the background, Sean. Like, I'm not used to having the sunlight up while we're doing a podcast.
Oh, I'm telling you.
I'm gonna have to. This feels like a McDonald's breakfast type of morning. I'm not used to this, so
sure as it is for us.
My kids used to be interested in the distilling part, till they got teenagers, and then they're like, "You're weird. Don't look at me."
But didn't they have their friends like, "Hey, my dad makes some stuff. Instead of drinking that crap, let's drink some of this stuff."
No, they just my kids are all like, "Oh, my dad's YouTube famous. My dad's TikTok famous." And then you got one kid who don't want to tell nobody because he's 17. He don't want his friends to know. So it's different when they get a little older. It's you're weird. Don't look at me. Can I have some money?
Well, all that now that I find out, some odd years later, now I find out, my dad's been making it forever. And if I would have known then, I would have been asking him instead of going to the corner and buying some junk off the off the shelf that I have to because I ain't got no choice.
So tell us a little bit about that. I mean, your dad, like, what's his kind of history? How did he get started?
I'm not exactly 100% sure how he got started. Probably just something to do, but I know how why he continued to make it. He was married to this woman at the time, and just the fact with him making it would piss her off. So the more he made, they're not married anymore, but the more he made it, the more pissed off it made her. So it was a win-win. So, and he just continued on, and then got bigger still, got bigger equipment, and just kept on going from there. And
that's how it goes,
right? Mm-hmm. And then brought me into it, and double trouble.
But that's something really cool though that actually I missed out. Well, my dad didn't do it, but I think that'd been really cool to be able to experience that with a parent.
It is, but my dad, we're really close, we're friends, like, so it's more with like my friend running than somebody over me, this, and you know what, we have totally different looks on it too, which I think is funny.
Being with somebody that has a different style can have its benefits. It could also have its issues because you can clash over some things, but it's nice to see things from a different point of view.
Luckily, when he knows I'm making a mistake or I know he's making a mistake, we just kind of like, okay, whatever.
Do your thing.
Do your thing.
I'm just watching. Get my popcorn. I'm watching. Let's see how this plays out before I say anything. So.
Yeah. Because sometimes you may want to keep your mouth shut.
So, are you or do you like to run, say, a pot still, a thumper still, or with a thumper, vodka plates, or what's your?
I unfortunately have not had the opportunity to run a vodka still yet. I love a pot still. Why?
You just lose a lot of flavor.
Well, see, there again, it depends on what I'm running it for too.
Yeah.
What I'm after. There are certain things that I want that 180 proof for, and then there's some things that I don't. I prefer, honestly, like, just straight without a thumper. And then I discovered a thumper, and there's a whole lot you can do with it. But if you kind of want to look at it in a way, oh my gosh, I'm going to get crucified for this one. It's almost... It's almost cheating. Even though I love cheating, I found out that I love cheating. But because like you had that extra step to add something else into it versus coming straight out of the pot. And so I love running it. I love running a thumper. I love running, flavoring jars. I love everything that I can add into it in the distillation process. So just because it's cheating don't mean I don't do it.
See, I don't see it as cheating. A thumper is like adding a chip in your sports car to get 20 extra horsepower, like why not?
Well,
why not?
It's not factory, it's not stock.
We all need a little upgrade every now and then,
Hey, I'm all. Hey, like I said, I'm the biggest cheater in the world. Then. So.
Now, before you started using a thumper, would you do stripping runs and then a spirit run, or you just?
What was that? What was all that stuff? I had no idea what that was. So no, I just ran straight into the, straight into the jar.
Hey,
yeah.
If you're making good quality stuff, then one run and done. Single arm's all you need.
Yeah. But I didn't know any of that stuff when I was first running. None of that stuff came until afterwards. So when I first started, I was lucky if it came out clear-ish. It wasn't green or blue or some other color like that.
Well, 10 years ago, there wasn't this wealth of information where you could just see what other people are doing and be like, what are you doing? I think I want to try that. It wasn't there, like you said, you knew two people, you and Dad. And so if Dad didn't know anything about it, how are you supposed to know anything about it? So
we had a lot of people go, well, I learned this on the internet. You didn't have a book. Well, I had a book that he gave me, and he got it for like a recipe. I read 2 pages and like tossed it in the drawer. Like I couldn't do it. And I'm all about, books and reading and doing all that kind of stuff. This just wasn't that type of hobby or that type of thing that you can do this with.
Yeah, I know. I jumped right into it when I did, and it was a disaster. I didn't.
It still is sometimes.
There. Yeah, I mean.
Well, hey, but you came a long ways. Like you learned a lot from that, right?
Yeah, or I get lucky all the time, I guess.
You can only get lucky so many times. Sometimes you got to be like, yeah, I might know what I'm doing a little bit, just a little bit. Can't say a whole lot, but can't get lucky all the time. You sure as hell don't get lucky all the time. I know that.
Yeah, not me. I got lucky once. We'll go with that.
Hey, that's
right.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes. So,
but
tell us about your experience on Master Distiller. You went on there and you won the mead episode, which that was I love honey wine. I love a mead shine. I call it bumble shine. When you take a mead and distill it. So tell us your experience about what you learned and just the whole thing.
Well, I learned that Master Distiller is really not about going on there and showing what you really know. It's more about going on there and seeing what you can learn. And I see all the time about, I would go on there and I do this and I do that. Yeah, you have a plan and you stick with it, but you really don't expect to learn as much as you do. And I don't necessarily mean, about liquor or this and that, but about yourself and other people and communities. And to me, it just opened up, a whole nother world to me that I didn't even know existed. And it made me kind of solidify the fact that this is what, I'm supposed to be doing here. And, I learned a lot when I went, and then I learned, technical stuff that I didn't know. I learned some technical terms that I didn't know. And it was a really great experience for me. And, win or lose, what I took away, it's always going to be there. And I met, some fantastic people along the way, and I've met some not so fantastic people along the way. But overall, it was a learning experience for me. And, anybody that wants to do it, I think that's the first thing that you should, think about is when I go, or if I go, what can I learn? What can I learn about myself? What can I learn about other people? What can I learn? And that it's emotional. Like I don't know about you, Sean, but for me, like the whole thing was an emotional process for me.
Sean was drunk most of the time, so his emotion was hungover.
The first round, I was very, very hungover. Very hungover.
Well, I mean, from the time I got the phone call, it was just a lot for me. Because I kind of live a sheltered life. Housewife, house mom, whatever you want to call it. I grocery shop. This is my job, so that's kind of sheltered. And then I get out and experience this and just learn that there's so much out there. That there's so much around this culture that it's kind of amazing.
I learned a lot about bourbon and wood when I was down there filming, because I don't generally care for it a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really care, and but just the people that was with, I mean, you get down there, you're with people that run decent sized distilleries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
you see the other side of the spectrum, whether that's what you're used to being around or not.
Well, I really felt comfortable because I didn't run in a big distillery.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't have those tools. Like honestly, my most high tech tool is my hydrometer. That's
all you need.
That's all you need.
That's all you really like. I have thermometers, I have sensors. I have, I run an electric pot, but those numbers on there, they change every run. Like I don't, focus on having those same numbers every time because it's not going to happen.
It seems like when the show, it's the people that come from the big distilleries that don't have a lot of experience with, say, 20-gallon small pots and small mashes. It could be a bit of a struggle learning going down from push 1,000-gallon pots and huge mashes, and so it's definitely got a different step to it, as far as the small runs as opposed to big giant distilleries.
I guess I got lucky because that setup that we had was actually the second setup that I ran. My first was an 8-gallon pressure cooker, and then my second was almost that exact same setup from the thumper to everything. And then I, have a bigger one now, but going back to that small one, honestly, it kind of like, I don't know, it was zen for me. It brought me back to kind of where I was, and I felt totally at ease running it. I felt like I was back home, so I felt like I had a little bit of an advantage, but
see on the flip side of that, if they were like, okay, well, we're going to change it up this year, guys, or this time, guys, we're going to run, 1,000-gallon pot. You got to make the mash for 1,000 gallons,
Okay, I can do that. I can do that.
Well, so many people would struggle though because upscaling that, sometimes can be a little bit different as opposed to what it would be for a 50-gallon.
Well, you use multiply instead of divide, but.
Well, yeah, but
it's too early for those big words. It's too early for those big words. But Sean could ferment a 50-gallon drum with no problem, but he couldn't ferment 10 5-gallon buckets to save his life.
No,
and why? I don't know. That's just him.
I don't know.
Well, I couldn't do a 5-gallon bucket to save my life either. Who does 5-gallon? Honestly, that's something. Who does 5-gallon buckets? Even if you run a 5-gallon still, let's go up a little bit higher.
That's what I always tell people. They go to the brew store and they get them 6.5-gallon fermenting buckets. And I'm like, dude, just get you a 20-gallon trash can, because after you make that first mess when it just pours over and you lose half your mash and you pull a hooch and get weed all over your bathroom floor, you're going to be like, damn, I should have just had this in a 20-gallon can. I wouldn't have had this problem. So.
Right, and then you're set up for 2 or 3 runs already. So
that's why I always tell people that have keg stills, just get a 50-gallon barrel, run it a few times and be done with it.
One big mash, one big mash. That, and I noticed early on, because we was on them little ones, and I was all about 6.5-gallon ferment buckets when I first started, And it's like, well, this one ain't never done when this one is, and I started them at the same time. Like
Right.
this one took a week longer, so here I'm waiting another week, and so just put it all in one big thing and let it all work together. You know, you're gonna get it's gonna work a lot better together than it will in a bunch of little parts.
It's gonna come together in the end, anyways.
Exactly. So, have you ever made 2 separate mashes, mixed them together in the pot, and ran it?
I have. Of course, we have. I mean, it doesn't mean it's good, but yeah, I've done that. It to me, I mean, it just seems like a little extra step.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it also depends on what you're going for too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, going back to vodka, that's what Thomas, he was on my episode, that owns Delta Dirt Distillery. That's what he does. He ferments corn and then he ferments sweet potatoes separately, and he mix them. And I'll tell you, it's a vodka, but the characteristics of sweet potatoes are definitely there. And he said he runs it through 20 plates. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, you've tasted it easy.
Yeah.
You know. Yep. It's real good.
Yeah, that was that sweet potato vodka I tried that one time at your house, wasn't it?
Yep.
You know, sweet potato vodka is also called soju, by the way.
Soju.
Soju, yeah. It's Korean vodka. It's called soju.
Nice.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. So a little bit of a nerd.
Huh. So going back to your experience on Master Distiller.
Yeah.
So you won, right?
Yeah.
Have you heard when your recipe's coming out?
No, have you?
Oh, shots fired! Yes, shots fired. Casey's Casey's my new favorite guest. Shots fired, huh?
Unfortunately,
you knew what you was walking yourself into there, Sean. You knew that. I don't know why you asked that.
Well, why not?
I was really hoping she was going to be like, "Oh, they said it's coming out next month." I was really hoping that was coming, but it didn't.
I haven't even gotten a phone call.
Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah.
You've got a few years, but
yeah, that's okay. I mean, you know.
Next question.
So who was your favorite judge?
Well,
out of the 3 main.
Out of 3 main?
No pressure.
No pressure, huh? Tell us who you like the best.
So they all have their personality traits. But I'd probably have to say Digger, because Tim, well, let's just say Tim is Tim. And Mark, he's just super sweet. And Digger is just an ass. So, you know, what you see is what you get, you know, and probably Digger, because, you know, you can throw a hard ball and he'll throw a hard ball back at you.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yep.
Yeah.
I do agree. So what are your plans from here on out? I mean, are you wanting to step on the other side of the fence and go legal, or?
We'll see. There's a distillery, a good friend of mine, his name is Tom Fleming. He's out of Louisiana. He's got a distillery now. Oh, and he's a veteran too, and his partner's a veteran. They went legal and they have a distillery open up on the 4th. And, you know, I'll be going out there. Oh, and Troy will be going out there, my competitor, and Frank Hicks will be there too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go out there and, you know, see what the legal side is about. Because of course I would love to open up my own, but I want to see, you know, take a test drive and see what the whole legal side is about before I jump feet first and spend all this money that I don't have yet, and see if that's something that I really want to do, or if I want to stay on this side, or you know, see how it goes. Of course I would love to be legal and love to have, you know, my label, not necessarily my face, but, you know, my label on the shelf with my alcohol in it, you know, for my distillery, and have, you know, share it with other people, you know. But if, the funds and, the responsibility is there. I may just work with people, and see how that goes.
The time that it's going to take, that you have to put in to get it to where it needs to be, it could be a daunting task to be like, oh man, I got to spend 12 hours a day on this, as opposed to,
yeah. And honestly, what it boils down to is, of course, I would love to own my own. But, whenever you start owning stuff, you have paperwork and you have that part. And I don't really want to deal with that part. I want to stick with, making the liquor, because that's what it's all about for me. That's what got me started. And if running it takes me away from that and owning it takes me away from that, then that's not the route that I want to go. I want to stick with making my recipes and the fermentation process and the distillation process. I want to be mama from there to end. I don't want to be mama and push it off on somebody else.
Yeah. That would be my ideal part. Like, look, man, I run the distilling part. That's my part. Like, I run the stills, I make the mash, I make the liquor, and then your part is everything else.
Everything else, yeah.
You got the time and the energy for that. I don't. Like, I just want to make liquor. That's all I want to do. And if I can't do that, then I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And then, like, here in Ohio, they're trying to pass a new law called SB 13 that allows every person in Ohio to make up to 100 gallons of distilled liquor per person of 21 or older in your household. So, like,
per year?
Yeah, per year.
Okay.
So, like, for like Sean, based on him and his wife, girlfriend, they can make 200 gallons a year, and
shit, I just got a whole lot of roommates.
you do. Hey, kids ain't got to move out when they're 18 now. They can stay here as long as they want.
Right.
As long as you're out there in front of that pot.
That's right. And they had written it to where you're allowed to share it with your friends. You're allowed to mail it within the state. And it's like, dude, if they allow you to make 100 gallons at home per person with no, obviously you can't sell it, but still, just if you do it for the love of it and just to give to your friends, it's like, man, I'm all for that. And
I'd be filling barrels and everything. I don't really like it, but
and then you start thinking, like, man, I wonder how much I'd have to trade for a new Jeep since I can't sell it. I'm sure that'd be frowned upon. So I'm just kidding on that part. But
it borders well.
Yeah, it does. Because I know Missouri, they have that law. Alaska has that law, allows you to make 100 gallons a person per household. And I'm just like,
so I wonder though, will the federal kind of turn their head like they kind of do with pot? Because
that's what everybody was talking about it, how they're like, oh well, it'll still be illegal federally, and they're like, man, you can drive up to Michigan and buy marijuana on almost every street corner. So I'm sure that they'll look at it like that, like, man, that ain't worth our time. Unless, you got a big operation and you're just selling it and making a ton of money off of it, then you're going to bring unwanted on you because somebody's not getting their cut. And that's when it's a problem.
Right. The biggest OG come shake you down.
Yep. Like, when the man ain't getting his cut and you're making money, that's when there's a problem. If you ain't making no money, they don't care.
Yep.
But it's for your safety. Remember that.
Always, yeah. They always have your best interest in mind, and they're always looking out for what's best for you. So don't get it mixed up.
That's right.
And themselves at the same time. But so anyway, I gotta ask. On my episode there was 3 contestants, and I believe on yours there was only 2, right?
That is correct.
Okay, that's a little different.
I'm sure she can't go in as why,
Right. But
let's just say there was only 2 people qualified enough to make mead on Master Distiller.
Well, about that, how was the animosity with you and
Troy?
Troy, yeah. I mean, like, was there any there, or were you guys?
No, well, not with me, and I don't think there was with him.
Well,
with Troy, it was different. We automatically had a bond because we're veterans, and honestly, if it wasn't for Troy, I don't really know if I could have gotten through it the way I got through it, because believe it or not, he was like a buffer for me with the, like, you know how, stuff gets to going on and you just need to step back for a few seconds. And Troy was that person for me. And the whole veteran thing, that had a lot to do with it too. And I never felt like I was in competition with Troy. I always felt like we were just two shiners,
Yep.
running the whole time, sitting back, passing a blunt, not really, sitting back, passing a jar, having a cigarette here, whatever. That's how I felt it was, like we were outside underneath the moon running. And we've been doing it together for years.
See, I've met Troy. I believe it was a year before that.
I saw those pictures of y'all together. I was like, oh shit.
He was such a nice guy. He came up, was talking, and he messaged me. He's like, "Hey man, I got picked." I'm like, "For what?" And he's like, "Masters." I'm like, "No shit." And Troy's just a good dude.
Oh, he is, and I can't wait to see him again on the 4th. I think it'd be pretty cool that both him and I are there together again.
Yep, it's awesome. Not gonna lie, I was pulling for Troy.
Oh well,
because I knew him, Because
you knew him.
Yep, but it's things happen the way they do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. It was fantastic running with Troy. It really was. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And Troy is that person that when there is a lull in the conversation, he's there to pick it up. There's always something to talk about with Troy. With me, not so much. With him, yeah, there's always something.
I could see how, just you and one other person doing that show together, pretty much from beginning to end, because it's just you two, so you don't have to worry about around. I could see the camaraderie really being there after spending so much time and learning from each other and just being there. And then, like you said, having the military background and having the love for moonshine, you're already intertwined with that person. You already have lots of things in common, and it just, different aspect when you spend that much time with one person.
Yeah, and he has a background of it too. Like his grandpa, I believe, ran, and my dad ran. So there's a lot of stuff that we had, and I'm a big time introvert, but with Troy, there was something with Troy that we just clicked, and that's something else that a lot of people don't think that they're going to get when they go to a competition.
Yeah.
You're going to make friends like that, but you do, or at least we did.
Yes.
Some of your best pairings are somebody that's an introvert, real down, and then somebody that's really out there, and so that's what pairs me and Sean so well together. I do all the bullshit, and he just laughs at me about it, so it's a good thing.
Like what is so funny about Troy is like when I saw him at Hillbilly Jam, like how you go to Hillbilly Jam and he was all the way down there at the end, right? You turn that corner and you hear and you see Troy all the way, and you just know it's Troy, the way he talks, the way he walks, it's fantastic.
So some people light up the world around them, man, and that's just, and that's awesome. So
when you got the call to go film, was it what you were expecting? Like as far as being down there?
Honestly, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't have any expectations. I just cleared my mind and prepared for the journey, and whatever I went through on my way there is what I went through. And because in the past, you have expectations for something and you set those expectations and they're not met, and then you're disappointed. Well, I didn't want to be disappointed with the whole experience, so I just took it as I got it and I rode with it.
Okay, that's a good way of doing it.
I mean, there was no expectations or anything. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect. I just went down there. And I had a job to do, and I went down there and I did my job. That was pretty much it.
I really like how everybody we talk to, they're all like, man, I was going on there to win. I was going on there for competition. And then like I get there and it's just all friends and love and helping each other out and almost not wanting to beat the other person. It makes you feel bad to knock somebody off. And, and you know, it's like, man, I've grown to love and respect this person now. I don't want to beat them. I want to win, but I don't want to beat them. Like, can I beat somebody else? I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what? It was in the end. It's like, haha, I won. Haha, I won. You know, you kind of jab a little bit, but you know, we both
sometimes
really
it's
won.
needed.
Bragging rights are there. You know, sometimes.
Yeah, and you know, they just caught me. They just caught me on a better day. That's all it was. So, because he's, you know, he can make some good stuff. They just caught me on a better day.
Hell yeah!
You only got to get lucky once. Ain't that right,
Sean? That's right.
That's very true.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So, do you after you come back, what was it like? I mean, did you have? Well, not when you came back, like after it aired. You know, did you get flooded with phone calls and stuff from people that you know didn't know that you did that, or?
Well, no, not really, because I'm kind of a private person, and you know, everybody in my social circle really knows what I do. It's not really a secret. We can't, you know, I can't hide it from my family and my people that really know me. And then I guess like the internet people, well, if they follow one of my accounts, they know, you know, you know. When I had a couple people, but not really, you know, not really anything surprising. You know, of course there's some people that I don't want to know, but whatever, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't, you know, I wasn't really, you know, set up to expect a bunch of these phone calls. Like, I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you did that, because, you know, pretty much everybody knew already.
Cool. So when you guys, I don't remember exactly, what was your guys' last run? Was it a clear run, or was it infused or flavored, or?
It was an aged run, but I also had honey in it also, which clouded it up, but you know, it happens.
Now, what was your mash build at the beginning? It brought you in, and when you used the honey, was that local? Was that Texas honey, or did you get it from?
It was local. I got it about 50 miles outside of Houston. Yeah, I ended up walking out of there with 2 5-gallon buckets of it, which is 60 pounds each, 120 pounds of honey.
Yeah.
And you opened it up and it was like amazing the way it smelled. It actually, that was my favorite part of Master Distiller. Like, they didn't even air it. Was when we were outside making our mash, and I pull that lid off the honey, and it's December too, by the way. So and it's cold, so you're not seeing bugs. And then all of a sudden, about 10 minutes in, I see a bee. And then, you know, I see more bees and more bees and more bees. And then I'm swarmed with bees here after about 30 minutes of being outside. And I usually freak out with the bees. You know, I don't want to get stung or anything like that. But I just stayed calm, and they were hanging out with me, making my mash. And, you know, it was kind of cool to have the little bees there.
Some December bees, huh?
Yeah, December bees. Yeah.
That's awesome. Like, I've noticed, because got a couple buddies, and every time they show honey from Texas, it looks almost red, really dark, and almost red. And then like our honey up here in Ohio, it's real golden and light amber. So it's wild how the different regions affect what that honey looks like and how it tastes.
Oh, for sure. And when she told me what trees, or like what, you know, where the honey she gets it from, I was shocked, because here it's a trash tree. Like, we don't want those trees around because they're poisonous, like, you know, but she gets the honey from those bees, and it makes a phenomenal honey.
Love honey. One of the first wines I ever made when I first started, I did a mead, and then I did what I call Viking's blood. It's just honey with cherries. And that's my favorite meat I ever made was the Viking's blood. And I aged one bottle of it for like 4 or 5 years, and I didn't want to finish it. It was so good. So if you ever do make you a mead, just a wine, try honey and cherries, and it'll be.
Oh God, that's expensive. Expensive, yeah.
Worth every penny.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
I know drinking it would be.
Oh yeah,
that honey, it's good. I've never made any honey, but I drank some of yours that you'd made, and it was about 150, and it was a smooth. It was real good.
Yeah, I found a guy local, and he had a bunch of honey he wanted to get rid of, so he gave me $4 a pound. I picked up 30 pounds from him, and I did a 10-gallon wash with it, and I liked it at 150 as opposed to when I proofed it down to 100. I enjoyed it way more at 150 than I did 100.
Really?
Yes,
it was like the character of it really came through a lot more.
Yeah.
Well, surprisingly, like I wasn't expecting to really enjoy what I made, but surprisingly, I enjoyed the honey. That was actually the first time I had done that, and that it tasted fantastic. I think the very, very first run that I did, my first jar on the table, I thought that was actually my better jar to me than the final one, just because it's that first virgin run. Nothing added, nothing taken away, but
I think that goes back to we like it straight out. We don't like to add anything to it. So when it comes out of the still, man, if it's amazing, I want to keep it there. I don't want to do anything to it. It's like, add something to that. No, I'm just going to go ahead and turn this clear jar back in. Like, I can't ruin this. I don't want to ruin this.
But that wasn't the assignment.
I know. So. Well, I wasn't ever very good at following directions. So I'm like,
hey, I know. But we're there to what? What are we there to win?
Yeah, right? I know. I understand. Got to play the game. Got to play the game.
I know. So. Sometimes that game's not fun, but that's what we signed up for.
Sorry about that, guys. I had a technical difficulty here. My phone rang, and it's on a Mac, so it automatically goes onto this. And I hit the decline, and it takes my screen off, and I'm like, oh shit.
Put your phone on do not disturb.
You don't want to share your conversation? What's wrong?
Well, I didn't exactly have a conversation to share. But I was going to ask them. I can't remember what it was though. I actually wrote down some questions this time, but
nice.
I got through them pretty quick.
Prepared early, huh? You got to prepare when it's early. Not used to this, so. We'll be back again Monday night. Our normal Monday night schedule is we'll be back Monday night. I don't know who Sean has on, so he'll figure it out.
I don't remember who it is. Is it DRC? No, it's
no.
Oh boy.
Whatever. We'll see you Monday. We'll figure it out then. Oh, Jen. We're having Jen. Jen episode.
Oh, Jason Sanders.
Yeah. We're having the Jen episode.
Yep. Yep, he was the winner of Jen. He's actually a chef. But anyway, we'll get into that.
Chef.
Yeah, next week. So, but yeah, so I do have one question we generally ask every time. What's the smallest pot you've ran, and what's the biggest pot you've actually had the chance either to run or sit in while it was running?
The smallest I've run is an 8-gallon pressure cooker that my dad made.
Oh, your dad. That was my question. Did you make it or modify it? Or your dad? You still have it, right? And you still have it?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Well, I knew the answer to that question.
It's not in my possession when somebody is borrowing it, but they're learning. But you do still have it. We didn't throw it away. Oh no, there's a big collection from my dad out in his garage about things that there's a lot of modifications that he had done to like crawfish pots and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Well, yeah, it's pretty cool. I'd like to make a museum out of some of the stuff that he's got back there. And the biggest is a 50-gallon that we run now. And, I like that one because you can go straight from barrel to pot, don't even have to worry about, pump it straight in and you're good to go.
Copper or stainless on the 50?
Oh, copper.
Yes. I like the copper.
So What got you going on electric? I mean, just
Well, I was tired of hauling around. Every time I would go get propane, I was tired of hauling around 6, 7 tanks. I was tired of, big barbecue, these little smart ass comments. I was tired of that. I was tired of running out of propane at 2:30 in the morning. There's just a lot of stuff that I got tired of, and it got expensive. So when we upgraded to this pot, we made it to where we can run electric or propane. And, electric is just kind of more efficient. And I don't really have to worry about scorching any of my stuff because I don't put grain in there. But, if some grain happens to get in there, I don't have to worry about it scorching the bottom of my pot because, my elements are about 6 to 8 inches a foot off the bottom. And, to me, that heats up a little bit more evenly too. It doesn't have to strictly come straight from the bottom. It's stacked. It heats up a whole lot quicker. There's just a lot of benefits to it.
How many elements do you have in that?
2.
5,500.
I don't know that. You'd have to ask my dad on that one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I yeah.
Just lie to me. I'm good. Like, yeah, that sounds about right.
They're the big ones.
There we go. That's the answer we wanted.
Yeah, they're the big ones. They're
okay.
The big ones.
So about how long does it take to heat that up?
It depends on if it's wintertime or summertime, and it depends on
wintertime.
Okay, yeah. If it's wintertime, it takes about 45 minutes longer than if it does during the summer. I can get liquor. I can get liquor in about 45 minutes. If I don't have jars, if I don't have anything like that, but I can get liquor in about 45 minutes.
That's moving on a 50 gallon.
Yeah. But I mean, see, and that's something else I like to play with electric because I can crank it up and get that temperature up there, and as you feel it, getting hotter, you can bring it down. That way, it doesn't like take off too quickly. Get it up to heat and then back off a little bit.
And it's direct heat. You're not heating it through the bottom of the pot. You're heating it directly into the mash.
Everything she said about electric, that's what it is. It's cheaper, it's more efficient, it's easier to run. You're not hauling tanks. You're not worried about running out of gas midway through.
And you don't have to worry about leaks near as much.
Yeah, you ain't worried about smelling gas.
And that's something else too. Like here's a term I learned on Master Distiller, a King's Run. Whenever you're doing a King's Run, I don't have to worry about making sure that my proof is below 80 or anything like that because I'm not running on an open flame. If I wanted to run 50 gallons of 100 proof, I could and not have to worry about it.
So it's
safer.
Sure it's in
a lot
there.
safer.
Make sure it covers up the elements.
Yeah.
Or the pot will blow up.
Yeah, I know a guy.
Sean's old pot went pow because it got too low.
Oh, so yeah, that is the one downside to electric is you always got to make sure your elements are covered because they will burn out and they're not cheap and they're a pain in the ass to replace.
A sight glass just above your heat elements is always a good idea in your pot. Then that way, if for some reason you get that low, you see it immediately and you're not guessing. So if you got an all electric pot, just a sight glass about 6 inches above your elements might be, try to stop a potential hazard before it happens. So had there been one in that pot that Sean's that got blown up, that wouldn't have happened. He would have known that, the guy would have known like, hey man, there's not enough in here. And I never got to see that thing in person. I'm kind of sad about that.
Old son did.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah. Well, it was funny though, because I seen it. He posted a picture of it on his distillery page, right? Well, he had this complete different barrel on there. So I'm like, what the hell? So I text him. He's like, yeah, about that. I'm like, oh, okay.
Blew your old pot up. It happens,
cool.
He learned a valuable lesson. Nobody got hurt. And then we got to learn from his mistake, and we talk about it. So we're able to spread the message that says, "Hey, man, make sure your liquid doesn't get below your elements, or you got a bomb." Sometimes even common knowledge needs to be, expressed just to make sure it's still there. So,
well, I feel like it's just, this is a hobby that you have to slow down. Sometimes you're in a hurry, but like it can be dangerous, and I think that's going to be part of the reason why if it doesn't pass in Ohio, that's probably why, because there's a lot of idiots in Ohio, and I am included in that.
Well, you know what? I think that is part of why like we get into it is because it makes you slow down. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't like living my life like a ping pong ball all the time.
Right.
It makes you slow down. And did not somebody say, what do you need more? Do you need education, or do you need what was it? Education or imagination to run? You need education to run before you can have imagination, because if you don't have education, you can kill yourself, you could kill your family, you could kill your neighbor,
That's absolutely right. Have you ran propane? You ran electric. Have you ever ran wood or tried it?
No, but I would love to. I unfortunately don't have that opportunity to run wood the way my setup is. But I would love to take, a 10-gallon out there and try it one time, or a couple times. I know that takes a whole lot of skill. You got to get the fire hot, you put it in, pull it out. You've got to work with that fire. You've got to constantly stay there with that fire. You can't, put your jar up, go take a 15-minute break, go have, whatever, go to the bathroom and come back to it, because it's not going to be what you did when you walked away. You've got to stay there and you got to stoke it. So to me, that's hardcore.
I'm surprised they haven't ventured into that yet with Master Distiller.
You know what?
Well, they will now.
Let's right. let's be honest. Would you want to be working with some of these people around alcohol and really fire? I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't like to be around Sean with open flame and fire. So
like fire. Yeah, not a propane fire, but because okay, I don't know about you, but I'm clumsy. Can you imagine somebody being around there and tripping and just catching everything on fire?
Oh yeah, I destroy stuff, man. I'm a bull in a china shop. Like,
hey man, you got a valve?
You got a valve? I break stuff. I break myself most of the time. I could see the danger in that. Like, if first time I'm ever going to do wood, I'm going to use a keg. I'm going to use a keg. I'm going to run it through a keg. I ain't got to worry about burning it up. If I mess it up, it's just a keg, so my first wood fire will be with a keg. And then that way I can be like, yeah, man, I'm going to make this thing glow. I'm going to make this thing glow red. And when I'm done with it, I'm going to sell it to Sean. So I'm just not going to tell him what happened to it. So.
Oh, boy. Well, I think we've had you on here long enough.
Yep. Okay. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on. And I apologize for last week. That was completely me.
It's okay.
I dropped the ball on that one.
It
not used to doing it on a Saturday morning. But I think it's definitely an option.
Yeah.
He might not want to.
It don't matter. It's all good. I'm gonna cook breakfast for everybody now, so it's all good.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for having the morning for me. Thanks for working with me.
No problem. No problem. We're honored and grateful that you gave us your time to sit here and talk about your experiences and what you love, and we learned a few things. I always enjoy learning a few things and enjoy your stories. Before we go, what is your ideal size still? If you could build any still of any size for you to run, that you would love, what would it be?
200 gallons.
Nice. Nice. Now,
what do you think?
Yeah, just a 200-gallon pot, no thumper, or you got your.
Oh no! I would definitely have a thumper.
She got to cheat.
I gotta cheat.
It ain't cheating. That's the way it's done.
I don't fight fair. I don't fight fair.
That's right.
I'd probably have a nice 100-gallon
Nice.
50-gallon thumper, 50-gallon thumper.
You had me at 100.
50.
You had me at 100.
Well, I'm all about upcycling. We took that 20 that we used to run, and we took that 20, and now it's she's got a new job. It's the thumper for the 50. So
you see that all the time,
right? Why not take the 50
all the time? Yeah, and why not take that 50 and make it a thumper for your 100, and then take the 100 and make it a thumper for your 200? Yeah, we're thrifty around here. We make stuff happen. So. That's awesome. That's about what I'd have said. Mine's a 150 with a 50-gallon thumper, but mine
great minds think alike, right?
Mine is to where you could take the cap off the 150 and put it on the 50 and use the 50 as a still by itself.
See, we have that option.
Nice. That's amazing.
There you go.
Right.
I like her better than you, Sean. You're out, Sean. She's the new co-host.
I don't blame you.
She'd get tired of me real quick. It's cool.
Oh, you're not wrong. But
I agree. I get tired of myself sometimes. So,
so you said something about distillery.
Mm-hmm.
Let everybody know again where you're going to be, who all is going to be there. That way they can show up if they're local.
Okay, so it's in Leesville, Louisiana. It's called Louisiana Moonshine Company. I'm going to be there, and Troy's going to be there, and I believe Hicks is going to be there too. And we're all veterans, and Tom, he's also a veteran. His partner's a veteran, and it's right next to Fort Polk too. And from what I hear, they have a delivery service that delivers moonshine from the distillery to the soldiers on post.
Dude, that's legit.
Right?
That's legit.
Right? I can't even imagine.
Going to make it by leaps and bounds.
Yes, that's amazing.
Right? I couldn't even imagine having that service when I was enlisted. Like, I would never leave the barracks. Like, ever.
Sean, we were right by Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
That's true.
Oh, there you go.
Just say it.
That's true.
All right. Well, we'll let you get on with your Saturday, and like I said, we appreciate you being on. Thank you for your service. We're always grateful.
No, my pleasure.
And you ever want to come back on in the future, just let us know. We're always about having people on. I know we're booked out till March, which is amazing. That's wild to me. Sean's got us booked out till March. So if you want to be on before then, just tell Sean you want to come on a Saturday morning. We'll make it happen.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
All right. Awesome. Thanks for having me, y'all. It's been
Thank
fun.
you. Congratulations on your win, and good luck on anything you got going on in the future. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.
Hope everybody has a great day and enjoy your Saturday. And we'll see you Monday with the Jet episode Monday night at 9. You have a great evening. Don't log off when we leave. Don't log off. We want to talk for a minute. So everybody have a great night, and everybody shine on.
Shine on.